Okay, we're going to weight both brackets. The brackets themselves weigh 4.3 ounces, and when we add the CounterShox, it weighs 1 pound 15 ounces. Okay, so really quick, I want to explain what the CounterShox does to my understanding. This is what I understand what's going on with this device. So this device is filled up with some sort of liquid, and there's a weight inside. So what happens is when your suspension compresses down, that little weight, it goes opposite direction to whatever reaction is going on the forks. So for example, whenever you hit a jump and your suspension is going down, that weight is going up. So hence the name is CounterShox. So you're always getting a counter reaction to whatever is going on the suspension. So think about that. Whenever it's going, for example, if you're going through bumps and it's continuously going with the ground, trying to keep the traction, is going to make the suspension return quicker to the ground, because it's helping doing whatever counter reaction is going on the forks. So that's why it works. And it's crazy to think that such a small device, and only being like 2 pounds, it literally, you can feel the difference. So that's basically in what it does in a nutshell. And I don't know the specifics of it, but that's just what I understand is going on. All right, we got a CounterShox install. This is my third ride of the day. I wanted to wait and have a couple rides already, so I'm not going faster because I'm fresh. So I really want to test the CounterShox right now. Let's get it. Okay, something worth mentioning that one of my friends told me that he noticed on my suspension, and on this jump after this finish line, on this double right here, when I jump and there's braking bumps landing into it, the bike felt so stable. And my friend noticed that when he looked at my suspension, when I was going through those bumps after landing, the stroke of the suspension, it basically stayed more in the middle than any other bike basically that he was looking at. The CounterShox helps the suspension stay more in the center of the stroke instead of just going all the way down into it. So that was pretty cool that he noticed it. And through all these little bumps, the little braking bumps, the bike is so much more stable. And I'm not even kidding. You will see on this next video when I remove it how things go. we're going to go out without the CounterShox. I haven't touched anything on the bike. Same clicks in the suspension, same PSI on the air forks. I haven't touched anything from the last practice, and track is just getting rougher and rougher. And we're gonna go test out how it feels. Again, no CounterShox. Okay, something worth mentioning is the reason why testing the CounterShox at a motocross track is very good, because you're on a motocross track you're going same laps over and over, instead of like if you're riding trails or woods, you're not going through that repetition of motions and lines and everything. So testing at a motocross track is great because you can really compare, you can really tell where the device is working, where it's not working, because you're repeating the same laps every time. So right now on this one, this was my fourth moto of the day. I removed it on my fourth time, and the reason why I did it like that is because I was already used to a feeling. I was already used with having it on, and so that's the greatest comparison you can have. Once you remove to something you already used to, that's when you can really tell the difference and uncover anything that was there, and it will show up. And as you can see, coincidence or not, but without it, I fell over. I feel that I fell because I was already trusting a feeling that I had with the CounterShox, and the CounterShox was giving me more confidence in the front wheel traction. And I honestly feel that's why I tipped over right there. It was pretty simple, but I felt it right there. And immediately after the first lap, I started noticing, oh my god, like I do feel a big difference on the lack of the front traction. And this time of the day, this track was super dry. As you can see, everybody around me is struggling for traction. You cannot tell so much on the video, but it was super dry, super marbly, tons of rocks. The owner, they threw a bunch of like gravel, I don't know why, but it was super hard to get traction. And for the rest of this lap, I was just trying to find traction, because after removing the CounterShox, I was struggling for my front end to track. And then it just starts getting worse and worse and worse, because it was not feeling good. I was not trusting the bike as much. I started riding more scared, and from there it was just a cascade of not feeling confident with the bike. So I'll let it play, but that's exactly what has gone through. And then I'll have the next video that I put back the CounterShox. Okay, here's when I started noticing more and more and more and more that I was losing front end traction right there. I couldn't get into that rut correctly. My front end started washing out, and I'm like, man, without the CounterShox, is really struggling to get that front end traction. And as soon as I start feeling that front end wobbly and just sliding under me, that's it. You know, I lose confidence and I cannot ride the same. Okay, I want you to pay close attention to my front forks on these bumps. Look how much reactive they are. And that is felt immediately how the bike is more reactive. It goes to your hands and it wants to jump everywhere. And with the CounterShox, that bike feels way more planted because it's getting a counter reaction to those little bumps. And like I said before, it's tremendous how difference it makes just one little device like that. Okay, there's specifically one bump that I wanted to test this out, and it's coming. It's this downhill. There was this huge like hole all the way down in the bottom, so I gassed it pretty hard as I could and brake hard, and you're gonna hear it right there. Yeah, and you hear me going oh, because that felt so harsh to my hands, to my body. Basically the forks, they went so deep into the stroke, and that's what caused that harshness to feel like that and transmitted all that energy into my hands and my body. And when I put it back, the CounterShox on the next video, that I hit the same bump after these photos, so the track is even rougher, and that feeling of harshness went away. And like I said, that's when it blew my mind how this device works. Alright, now we got the CounterShox bolt back on, and now the track is even rougher. I'm even tired, and it's gonna be a great test because it's crazy how you cannot tell how good something is until you remove it. And I definitely noticed a difference once I removed it on the last practice. So I just want to confirm right now. That's why I'm going a third time with it on, just to confirm what I felt the last time around. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm excited. Alright, now we got the CounterShox bolt back on, and now the track is even rougher. I'm even tired, and it's gonna be a great test because it's crazy how you cannot tell how good something is until you remove it. And I definitely noticed a difference once I removed it on the last practice. So I just want to confirm right now. That's why I'm going a third time with it on, just to confirm what I felt the last time around. So it's going to be very interesting. I'm excited. Okay, yeah, it was recording. So again, we got a bolt on. Gonna go test it out. Okay, so remember, this is the end of the day. I'm even more tired. The track is even rougher, it's even drier, and I wanted to specifically try this hole that it was such a harsh feeling, and I wanted to gas it and test it out.
Oh wow!
And I did that lap after lap just to confirm what I felt, the difference, because I was pretty excited. Honestly, I was like genuinely excited and happy, like wow, like I can definitely tell a difference that this device does. Okay, so I'm amazed with this CounterShox. I love it, and I'm also running a steering damper since the beginning of the year. And I will say, with the CounterShox, I noticed a big difference on the bike. With the steering damper, it's a little bit better, but it's not a huge difference as I felt with the CounterShox. The only thing on my specific bike, I had to trim these plastics to make it fit, but that's only on my specific bike. I know all the bikes, they just fit perfectly, and it's no big deal. I just trimmed it. Let me put it back. I just trimmed it to make a little bit of room here and on the back here. It's not a big deal for me, but if you don't trim it, it tends to bulge a little bit, so your number plate will be like this. But once I trimmed it, it's able to basically be almost just as how it was stock. Oops, I left this cable in the front. There we go. It will look like this, so look perfectly good. And again, in a lot of the bikes, you don't need to trim it, it just fits perfectly. And it also depends on your triple clamps, because I know mine, they're pretty big, the ones that come with the factory connection. So every triple clamp will fit differently, and sometimes you're able to stick this CounterShox more inside. I've also seen in some of the CounterShox stories that he has shared, some people have put them here, which I guess it will work. And I like it where it is, just hiding. It's protected, you can't even really tell. But man, I'm amazed with this CounterShox. Definitely a 10 out of 10. I haven't felt such a huge improvement on the forks, with just something so easy to install. And I'm amazed.